wote ambao mmeweza kutuweza na kutuelekeza kwenye kipindi hicho cha sala na ibada, ili tukaweze kumhusisha Mwenyezi Mungu katika shughuli nzima. Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, tunaenda kwenye sehemu nyingine na ni kipindi sasa cha hotuba. Kwa hivyo naombeni nyote kwa heshima tukaweze kutulia ili tukaweze kukiriki heshima inayostahili. Atakayeweza kutuongoza na kutuelekeza katika kipindi hiki si mwingine bali ni Brigadier Elijah Ndego Gatere, aliye ndiye Chief of Personnel Defense Headquarters, na ni heshima yangu kuweza kumwalika aweze kutuongoza na kutuelekeza. Sio pisa.
Ma'am Eileen Ogolla and the family of the late General Francis Omondi Ogolla, Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, the First Lady, Madam Rachel Ruto, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, Your Excellency, Ma'am Dorcas Gachagua, Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the Speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate, the Honorable, the Chief Justice, the Right Honorable former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, Cabinet Secretaries and Principal Secretaries present, Governors present, retired Chief of General Staffs, retired Chief of Forces, Service Commanders, Honorable members of both Houses of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps, General Officers, serving and retired, officers, service members, our families, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, as the Principal Staff Officer in charge of Human Resources for the KDF, it is with deep sorrow and regret that we are gathered here today to fet and honor our CDF. I do not have much to speak about. For me, it's just to announce that immediately after I announce the order of speeches, I shall invite Mr. Omondi Ogolla, the son of General Ogolla, who will speak on behalf of the family. Sir, when Mr. Joel Rabuku is done with his speech representing the family, I shall invite our Assistant Chief of the Defense Forces in charge of personnel and logistics, Major General David Keter, to read the biography of General Ogolla. He shall thereafter invite
KDF Ahua, was buried. He was wrapped in a sheet and put in a tomb. Right now, Mzee is wearing the uniform he donned for number 1 functions, but tomorrow we'll be wrapping him in the sheets. We'll extract him from the casket and lay him in the ground so that he can return to us dust as quickly as possible, just the way he wanted it, and just following the man he admired the most, Jesus Christ. Your Excellency, my father always alikuwa na mambo matatu kama wewe, not the same, but all his speeches were divided into 3. Today I'll divide it into 4 because he was a Foster General. Firstly, you've heard from Bishop Lele about his love for God. Somewhere in that helicopter wreck is his Bible, which was his most precious possession. Anyone who worked with him in DHQ, MAB, Lab, wherever, can attest that he always had a Bible with him. And I am hoping they're able to retrieve it from the accident. I'd want to keep it as a memento, and for the rest of the family as well. His Bible meant a lot to him, and between me and him, the rest of the family, my mom and my wife, were a bit slow, but we'd always engage in a competition for reading the Bible and discuss the mortality and all these things of life. He understood that his position was temporary and it would always end. Leading up to his death, he almost knew that his time was up, despite having very many plans for the military and for his family. But he spoke in a certain tone that would suggest that, my son, I won't always be here, and you will need to take care of my wife and my other children, which I am more than ready to do, and it will not be a problem. And Matthew 5:3, Beatitudes of Jesus, it says that blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. He was the poorest man in spirit. Hizi cheskas mingi, ofisi kubwa, watu kumuita CDF, general, sir, to him it was all vanity. It was a necessary thing for him to be able to fulfill his job, nothing more. As he lays here with his uniform, I see they put his medals, his sword and boots. He loved it as a tool for the job, but nothing more. Don't be under any illusion that he thinks is important once he breathed his last. That was point number 1, his love for God. His point number 2 and point number 3 is a very blurry line. It is about his soldiers and his family. I can guarantee you right now, ule private mwenye amekaa pale juu kwa kona and me, he viewed us almost the same. You may not have had the same privileges I might have had being his son, but in his heart of hearts, the lowest person, the cleaner, to his vice, he treated all of them with respect. And he respected every single human life. His worst days was when he had, or rather different days he hears his soldiers have been hit. He was actually mourning like he was mourning a child. And he'd go down to his knees and ask, God, what is happening here? Add for me strength. Nahitaji kulima hii Al-Shabaab kabisa. Nahitaji kulima hii bandits kabisa. Which is what he was doing in the line of duty when he went down. And I want to tell even the bandits or Al-Shabaab who are celebrating, mtu mwenye alikuwa na lima kila wakati, muongeze click. Watu ya SF, mukipewa mission ya kwenda kulima adui, maliza kabisa. Na ukifanya skirmishing, confirm. Waongeze 3 za kichwa. That's how he would have wanted it. He wanted to die, in fact, fighting one of these enemies. And so, musikubali kuogopa Al-Shabaab. Kama mdosi wenyu wako wanaogopa adui, basi mnaogopa nini? Si yeye amelala hapa, na sisi wote tutalala hapa. Usipende maisha yako yote sana, na iko kitu moja kubwa kushinda wewe, Mwenyezi Mungu na nchi yetu ya Kenya. Lima musiangushe click, muongeze. Watu ya Boni endeleni kuongeza click kabisa, because his ultimate dream was to have a fully peaceful Kenya. Hii mambo ya watu kugongwa hitting civilians left, right and center, he had told me many times, General Karangi started that side, I will finish it. He may not be the one to finish it, but all of you now have a responsibility. Musiangushe yo click, wekeni juu. And he always used to say, kazana, weka kazi mbele na Mungu mbele. Na ulime adui kabisa. Lima adui. Atakufanyia nini? Utakuja hapa, we'll celebrate you, but Kenyans will remain safe. Those tears of the women in Baringo and their children and the people, they won't go in vain. Hata sasa wenye wako deployed huko, wenye walichukua mili zao kwa ndege, don't despair, kazi inaendelea. He's gone, amri bado iko. Since ametoa amri, hiyo mali lazima ifagiliwe kabisa. Na hivyo ndio itakuwa. That was point number 2 and 3. I'll talk about his family briefly. He really loved his wife, and he loved us also as a family, and he did everything for us. Anything he was ready to sacrifice for us. He believed in us completely. And his wife, I know, he kept on telling me, unajua nikienda sasa wendo utachunga mama. And mom, I will take that job seriously, na nitakuchunga to the best of my ability. Lastly, if you knew General, he loved reading. He loved playing golf. I know his golf buddies really miss him. And he said in an interview, when Excellency appointed him, was the last time he played. And just when we were talking on Saturday, I told him, sasa ukiretire, itakuwa aje? And he told me, I look forward to going back to golf. But his primary consideration always was this great nation of Kenya. He loved it, and in his death, he wishes that Kenya will remain totally secure, free from external influence, and any Kenyan, be it from Baringo, Chemolingot, Lamu, Mandera, Wajir, any corner of this country, he wanted them to be safe. A child to go to school, get an education, pursue their dreams, and he died doing that. And there is no greater death for him. He loved, besides his golf reading, I believe, we as a family genuinely believe General had more than 24 hours in a day. Because in a day, Tuesdays and Fridays, in fact, we are normally here. This Tuesday, we were here doing the Defense Forces physical readiness test. He said, if I'm the general, I have to show that this test is possible. And ironically, he did, I think, the most press-ups of everyone here. Not the most press-ups, but the most push-ups. We did push-ups. He did 80 of them at his age, over 60. He did press-ups, I think about 50, and he ran 3.2 kilometers in about 19 minutes, which is absolutely phenomenal for his age. So pia nyinyi muku uko juu, watu ya vitambi, fuateni mwenende ya general. So unaona metosha kwa sanduku vizuri, hawaja finya toshe vizuri. And so, lastly as I finish, the most important lesson, should you disregard his love for God and what God can do to you in your life and the battles he can help you in? Should you disregard everything? I can tell you something. Ukiwa na mkono gamu, hautaipata baraka. Even when God wants to give you money and resources, you need to open your hands. You need to empty your pockets. Patiana. General Livyozia umuulize, yo sa umevapo, nipatie, anakupatia. General, nimekwama hapa, nisaidie. He will give you. He was so generous, and as a result of that, as a family, we have never lacked. I am to just try. Test your faith. Test your faith. Start. Mwenye nakombanga pesa, hata umechoka naye aje. give him, forget about it. Najua hapa, he told me the amount of debt ordered to him, and I enjoyed him. If you ever die, kwa mazishi yako nitaenda nianze kuchukua hizo madeni yangu, ndio at least nijenge mambo nyumba mahali. But akasema hapana, hiyo ni sadaka nimepatia Mungu. And so generosity, just test your faith. Hiyo wacheni kushikilia vitu kwa mfuko. Fungua mkono, God will bless you. We will miss him. He was a great simple man, and we love him. And to the entire KDF fraternity, poleni sana, we stand with you. And especially for the people who perished with him. We in fact were running with that whole group here on Tuesday. And Tuesdays and Friday were his days. If I can ask, kwa makambi zenyu, chukweni your fitness serious, mkwe kimbia, so that at least you can take the physique and also better your own health. Asante sana, and God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, Joel, for such a rich tribute to your dad, General Francis Omondi Ogolla. Your Excellency, it is now my singular honor and pleasure duty to invite the ACDF P&L to read the biography and thereafter invite the VCDF. ACDF, sir.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, sir. Permit me to write on established protocols. I have the honor and singular duty to read the biography of the late General Francis Omondi Ogolla. My name is Major General David Ketere, the Assistant Chief of Defense Forces in charge of personnel and logistics. The late General Ogolla was my mentor, and I was directly answerable to him on personnel and logistic matters. General Francis Omondi Ogolla was born on 12th February 1962 in Siaya County. He was enlisted into the Kenya Defense Forces as an officer cadet on 2nd May 1984 and commissioned as a second lieutenant on that May 1985, upon which he was posted to Moi Air Base, where he trained as a pilot. During his career in the Kenya Defense Forces, General Ogolla held several command, staff, and instructional appointments. In command, he was appointed the commanding officer at Laikipia Air Base, Tactical Flight Wing in 2007, and also the base commander at Laikipia Air Base from the year 2008 to 2014. Upon promotion to brigadier on 10th April 2012, he was appointed the Deputy Air Force Commander and later on promoted to a Major General on 13 July 2018 and appointed the Commander, Kenya Air Force. On 23rd July 2021, he was also promoted to the rank of a lieutenant and appointed the Vice Chief of Defense Forces, a position he held till 28 April 2023, when he was promoted to the rank of a general and appointed the Chief of Defense Forces. From my interaction with the late General Ogolla, I can attest that he had a welfare of the Kenya Defense Forces at heart. He ensured that he frequently visited troops in both deep and close operation areas and promptly addressed challenges in the field. He encouraged members of Kenya Defense Forces to keep fit, and this he led by example, by ensuring he attended bi-weekly sporting activities at this complex facility. His last group physical activity was the annual Defense Forces Physical Readiness Test, which was conducted this week on Tuesday, 16 April 2024, on this very ground. Being the Chief of Defense Force, he did not have to attend the exercise but he chose to lead from the front by participating in the exercise, just like the rest of KDF personnel, in sync with his command philosophy, one force, one mission. Due to his dedication to service, the late General Francis Omondi Ogolla was awarded, among them, Elder of the Order of the Golden Heart, Elder of the Burning Spear, Head of State Commendation, among others. The cruel hand of death has robbed his family of a loved one. Kenya Defense Forces, the country has lost a patriotic and hard-working general officer. He will be missed by his family, relatives, colleagues, friends, and nation at large. I wish to express my deep condolences to his wife, Madam Eileen Kadambi Ogolla, his children, Lona Acheng Omondi and Joel Rabuku Omondi Ogolla, his daughter-in-law, Mudhoni Njenga Mwaura, his grandson, Master Tajim Bagara, his friends, family, relatives, and colleagues. May the Almighty God rest his soul in eternal peace and grant abundant comfort to members of his family. Your Excellency, sir, it is my humble duty and honor to kindly invite the Vice Chief of Defense Forces to give his remarks. VCDF, sir.
Madam Eileen Ogolla and the family of the late General, our CDF, Francis Omondi Ogolla, Your Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Her Excellency First Lady Mama Rachel Ruto, Your Excellency Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, and Mama Dorcas Gachagua, Your Excellency the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, Speakers of the National Assembly and Senate, Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Honorable Right Honorable former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, Cabinet Secretaries and present, and all senior government officials invited, Governor of Nairobi County, service commanders, honorable members of the House Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the KDF fraternity, our families, distinguished ladies, distinguished gents, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great sorrow and great sense of loss that we have gathered at this stadium, which was very dear to our departed CDF. I take this opportunity, Your Excellency, on behalf of the Kenya Defense Forces fraternity, both those that are here and those that are in a peacetime location, troops that are deployed all around the country and beyond, to convey a deep message of condolence to the family of our departed leader. Your Excellency, I also take this opportunity to convey those condolences as well to yourself, members of the National Security Council, and all the leadership in the security sector for this loss. Let me thank you, Your Excellency, and through you the entire nation for standing with us, the KDF family, during this moment of great loss. Not only did we lose our CDF, but we lost 9 others, general officers, and service members in the tragic air accident that happened. Your Excellency, we have also received support messages of comfort and condolences from far and beyond. General Ogolla, and I do not need to really go over again describing what kind of a person he was, because the family has said that, as well as the principal chaplain, and we all knew him. But he had many friends within the security establishments, both in the region and through his engagements externally. We've received messages, and I'll just mention a few. The Chief of Defense Staff of India, his friend, the Chief of Defense Staff of Sri Lanka, whom he had invited here recently, and we learned, or rather shared, a lot of ideas in terms of the kind of engagements that we are engaging in dealing with the threats that confront our republic. There's also the General Mbadi, UPDF, who is the immediate former CDF, who worked very closely. The CDF of Burundi, who will be with us tomorrow, and many others. But presently here, sir, we have General Gatechu Selbina, the DMI of Ethiopia, representing Field Marshal Birhan Jula of Ethiopia, who, if you recall, sir, he was here also recently as a guest of our departed CDF. We also have the Commander of Land Forces of the Republic of Rwanda, Defense Forces, representing the Rwanda CDF. Your Excellency, also allow me to acknowledge with us retired CDFs of Kenya. We have retired General Kibochi, retired General Karangi, and retired CGS General Jeremiah Kianga, and many other retired both officers, general officers, and service members who are all here to show solidarity and to send off our general. Your Excellency, today you have noticed that we are all conducting this ceremony dressed in combat uniform. This is in honor of our general who died in the operation area conducting operational duties in the North Rift. And sir, like I mentioned to you earlier, last week we spent a lot of time meeting with the field commanders, service commanders and all, discussing ways and means and planning how to continue advancing our operations and making the country secure. After he was briefed on the situation in the North Rift, he tasked General Keter to look for resources to complete the task that you had given him, and told us that, actually he told me, wewe baki kwa ofisi, angalia mambo ya ofisi, next week, kuanzia next week, mimi nitakuwa kwa field. And his intention was to visit North Rift. After that, our troops in close operations, theaters, and within Somalia, just to reinvigorate and to continue giving the spirit of warriorship to our soldiers. We accept the will of God. Your Excellency, my duty is to assure you that the Kenya Defense Forces remains strong despite the loss. We are continuing with our duties of securing our country just like the general would have wanted us. And his passing will only give us the impetus to do more. Sir, you have seen a son of a general. That spirit reflects the general and it transcends to all of us. I will not, sir, go into detail again, like I said, but I will just finish by saying that the general was a very visionary leader. He leaves behind with us his visionary, his vision and the documents that we have developed to make KDF better. He was a very decisive commander and leader. He was very fair, firm but very fair when he dealt with situations. He would be considerate of actions before he took them. So, sir, and this, as we have heard, is grounded on his strong professional grounding, his spiritualism, his intellectual abilities, and family background. These, Your Excellency, are what defines our departed general. So, sir, we felt that this was a good event for the entire KDF and for those that will not be able to continue and with us in the journey to give him his final respects, to come here and send off our general in a very, in this military honors. Thank you, Excellency. And said, let me invite our Cabinet Secretary, who worked closely with General Ogolla as our leader, to give his remarks and continue with the program. Thank you, sir.
Mama Eileen, Ogolla and family, Your Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Your Excellency the First Lady, Your Excellency the Deputy President, and Mama Dorcas Gachagua, Your Excellency the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Right Honorable the Speaker of the Senate, the Honorable Chief Justice and Supreme Court, colleagues, Cabinet Secretaries present, the Vice Chief of the Defense, the host Governor of Nairobi and all governors present, principal secretaries present, general officers, members of the diplomatic corps, senior security officers present, the General of Police and the Director General of National Service, service members of KDF, ladies and gentlemen, today we gather with heavy hearts to a true hero, Ogolla. He was my friend, our CDF, a member of the Defense Council, a man whose life exemplified courage, dedication, and unwavering commitment to Kenya as we mourn his passing. A legacy attached in the annals of our nation's history. General Ogolla's journey over 4 decades ago, when he joined the military as a cadet officer in 1984. His hard work, determination, and exceptional leadership skills, he rose through the ranks, earning the respect and admiration of his colleagues